Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I'm Not Contained, but I Probably Should Be. Um, so, good news, I am continuing to have hot water. The new hot water heater is working amazingly, so there's that. That's a plus. I got this new face mask, or at least that was the intention to be a face mask. But it doesn't want to fit on both my mouth and my nose at the same time unless I stay extremely, extremely still. So, instead, it's going to be a new headband. I also got one that really does work for a face mask, like big time. As you can see, I can cover my whole face with this one if I want to. So, that's super cool. Yeah. Rockstar hair. All right. So today, we are going to have an edition of Friday on the Couch. And last week, we watched one of my old favorite movies. So this week, I thought, let's watch something more new. So I got Birds of Prey and then Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn, which I think should be a pretty good movie. And yes, before you say anything, I am wearing a Marvel-related shirt to watch a DC-related movie. And why is that? Because it's not and or. It's yes and. I want more comic book content, not less. I don't have to choose between Marvel and DC. It's fine to like them both, and I do. So there. So, let's get this playing, and we'll give you our thoughts when it's all done.
I found that guy's mask and the skull stereotype very disconcerting. Not all skulls are bad guys.
I like to part with the kicking.
There was a lot of that. All right, so my thoughts. Well, let's start with the plot. The plot is that this movie comes directly out of Suicide Squad, or, well, not directly out of Suicide Squad. This movie comes out of Suicide Squad. Harley has escaped from jail. She has broken up with the Joker.
Quinn and I broke up.
And she's trying to move on with her life and make a name for herself in the world, or make a life for herself in the world. She doesn't know what she's going to be or what she's going to do, but she has to find a way to live away from the Joker. And this comes with a certain amount of pitfalls because she's made a lot of enemies through her relationship with the Joker and through her antics over the years. And since she's broken up with the Joker, she no longer has the Joker's protection, and now everybody wants to kill her.
Harley Quinn just called open season on herself.
The main plot, though, deals with the Black Mask, who is this gangster, mobster, up-and-coming crime boss in Gotham, who wants to get his hands on the Bertinelli fortune. And in order to do that, he has to get this diamond that's encoded with a certain serial numbers in it that's going to allow him to access the fortune.
These are my things. This diamond is my things.
Yes.
He's waited for years to get his hands on it, finally finds a way to get his hands on it, and in the process of his minions going to get it, it's pickpocketed by this young girl, Cassandra Cain. Before they can get it back, she's arrested, and in order to keep it from the cops, keep the diamond from the cops, she swallows it.
This dummy swallowing that diamond is called a complication.
Through shenanigans, Harley Quinn is tasked with retrieving the diamond. She finds it in Cassandra Cain, or finds that it is in Cassandra Cain, and has the girl. Now, she doesn't want to cut the girl open to get it out. She decides she wants to go the long way, so she gets laxatives and prune juice and rhubarb and everything else that, supposedly gets a, person to poo to try and get the diamond out.
There are two ways that diamond's coming out of you. This way or this way.
There are other people who are out trying to get this diamond as well.
It's more fun if she's got competition. Send it to every mercenary in Gotham.
So that's pretty much the plot, is her fighting against all the people trying to get the girl, save the girl to an extent, even though she's, not a virtuous person herself, but she's going to try. And ultimately ends up on the wrong side of this mobster, Roman Sionis, who is the Black Mask.
Go show those little bitches you don't mess with Roman Sionis!
And they have a big fight, and it's, very comic booky and fun. So that's the plot. Not too hard. Very standard comic book stuff. Good guy versus bad guy. Although this is less bad guy versus badder guy. So now the rest of the Birds of Prey are involved as ancillary characters, since this is mostly about Harley. But you have Huntress, and you have the Black Canary, and you have Renee Montoya, who in the comic books eventually becomes the Question. Cassandra Cain, who I mentioned before, the pickpocket girl, she ends up becoming one of the Batgirls. So there's some fun involved. Things that I liked about this movie, it was very true to the characterizations of the character. That is one of the things that I think is absolutely crucial in a comic book movie, is that you do not want to... I know filmmakers have this idea in their head that they're trying to make something that is vividly their own. This is my interpretation, this is my thing. But it's not their own. You cannot fundamentally alter the nature of a character and have it be the same character. And I'm not talking about whether the person is black or white, or whether the person is a male or a female. I'm talking about their characterization, their core personality traits are absolutely crucial. And these characters, this is where directors make a mistake, is that they want to make their own thing. They want to do their own thing. They want to say, oh, well, we're not going to make Superman an alien from another planet. We're going to make him from a subterranean dimension or some garbage. We're going to completely erase the entire compulsion of Two-Face to flip a coin to make decisions of whether he does good or bad. We're going to, whatever it is that they decide that they don't think is necessary, and it affects the personality of the character, it angers people and fans. And, if you decided you were going to... These characters, they're held sacred by the fans. People love them. People follow them. People want their continuity to be added to, not to upend their entire continuity and decide that it's got to be different because some director wanted to put some sort of a brilliant new spin on it. We want new stories with these same characters. We don't want new versions of these same characters because it makes things complicated. It makes us feel like now we have to hold multiple truths in our head at the same time, and that doesn't fly. You need to have the same truths in your head. You know, you could use the example of the Bible, for example. You know, you don't change Jesus's narrative. You know, they learned that with the last temptation of Christ. It pissed people off because they have a firm bead on who this guy is in their heads. And comic fans have a firm bead on who these characters are in their heads. And every time that you make a new version of that character, then they no longer have the expertise that they've spent a lifetime developing. Because now their character is no longer what it was before. You have to work in this new truth. You know. So, in that vein, they get this movie correct. The directors put an awful lot of effort into making sure that the characters did not stray from their personalities. I'm trying to think of anybody who in the movie might have been slightly different. They did tweak them. It's not like they didn't give them some new facets to their personalities or new facets to their characters. It's just that they held true to the core of who they were. And that's a very positive thing from my point of view. Secondarily, the action was really top notch. They definitely did a good job with all the fight scenes and the different fight styles and the way that they portrayed the insane zaniness of what a story told from the point of view of Harley Quinn would be like. A third really nice point is that this is the first time in my memory, other than maybe one or two scenes that I can remember in the 1960s TV show, that you see Gotham in the daytime. And you also see a different part of Gotham. You're not seeing the Manhattan part of Gotham. You're seeing like the Bronx and Queens areas of Gotham. You're seeing the Brooklyn part of Gotham. You're seeing the Chinatown of Gotham, which is, you know, kind of cool. A different point of view. And again, in the daytime. The majority of the movie, all daytime stuff. There's the climactic scene happens at night, and that's pretty much it. So where the movie falls down a little bit, though, is in kind of the plotting, the way that it's put together. So they use flashbacks rather extensively because, again, the story is being told from the point of view of somebody who's very scattered, who is Harley Quinn. So she starts the story in Act 1, then you're in Act 3, and then about 2 or 3 pages into Act 3, she says, oh wait, let me go back to Act 2 and tell you what's going on, which would happen in between, and now we'll go back up through Act 3 again, and then you'll get the prequel story in Act 4 of how we got to where we were, and it's, you know, flashbacks are fine sometimes, but this is, whew.
This is me, Harleen Quinzel. Quick history lesson. Let's rewind. My bad. Should have introduced you. I'll make it quick.
There's an awful lot of jumping around, and it does pull you out of the action a little bit from time to time. So I could have done without that. I'm not sure how you could put this movie together better, but I felt like it was a little bit much with the jumping around. The other thing that I thought was a little bit weak was there's some serious underdevelopment or lack of time that is given to some of the characters. I really wish that Huntress got a little bit more time, because they really did some really amazing things with her and the character, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. The way she played the character was so fun, and you know, somebody who is seen the murder of her family and is on a revenge mission to make up for that, and has been trained by basically killers her whole life and has no sense of social skills but wants to be cool and really has this idea of what she should look like in terms of being I'm a badass. Look at me. I'm a badass. But she's got to practice in the mirror about being a badass. They call me Huntress. They call me Huntress. I'm called Huntress. You know, that it's kind of this really cool awkwardness that I would have loved to see a little bit more of. You get hints of it here and there, but you miss out on a little bit of that because, of course, we're spending most of our time with Harley Quinn. we get a little bit more time with Black Canary, but I would have liked a little more of her development too, kind of maybe a little bit of her history. They gloss over it quickly, talking about how her mother was the Black Canary as well, how she inherited the mantle, and Renee Montoya, she's got a very generic, I'm an alcoholic cop depiction. And, that comes with a lot of baggage with it, with all of our expectations of what an alcoholic cop is supposed to look like. Normally portrayed as male, granted, but it's still the same kind of thing that we've seen, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of her journey, because she's a very dynamic and interesting character in the comic books, and they basically just say cop, alcoholic, lesbian, boom. That's basically it. Put that person in the box as that set of boxes accordingly. And you don't really see anything that has anything to do with that. You're just told. So yeah, I mean, if it had been another 20 minutes of movie, they might have been able to fill that in a little bit better. But that might have been too long. There are places in the movie where it feels like it's dragging even through all the action. So where does this stand up with next to all the other DC films? I definitely think that Shazam, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, those are all better films. I think that the first half of Suicide Squad might be a better film. The second half of Suicide Squad is absolute garbage, so I don't, just the introduction to the characters, I think that part of that movie is the superior part. I think that this is probably as good as Justice League. Definitely not as bloated or as haphazard, even though it's haphazard on purpose. But it's a fun ride. And it's definitely not as good as the Harley Quinn animated series, which is on the DC Universe now, which is irreverent and perfect and amazing compared to just everything. It's amazing. If you have an opportunity to see that, see it. But it's pretty good. It's close. It's not that far off of what we have there. They just can do a lot more in that particular medium in terms of telling a story over a long period. When you only have 2 hours, there's a lot of stuff that has to get sliced and diced, and you don't get the chance for exploration that you would otherwise. So for me, those other movies, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam, those all are straight up solid 2 thumbs ups. I give this one, 1 up, 1 down. That's me personally. If I had to push harder, it would be 1.5 maybe. But my gut reaction, because of the plotting issues, the back and forth with the flashbacks, and the lack of time for some of the characters, I feel like perhaps you needed a little bit more to the movie, and that gave it 1 less thumb. Guys, what do you think? Well, I guess that's 4 out of 6. So if you come across this movie, check it out. You might like it. Don't necessarily go out of your way to find it, but if it's there, watch it. I think you'll like it. All right, this has been episode 6 of I'm Not Confined, but I Probably Should Be. Friday on the Couch. And please remember to like and share and subscribe. Thank you. Let's get a pizza, guys.